Okay, Jake, I want to talk about something that I think almost every working person in India experiences, but never quite has the English words for the office. Because the office has its own language, its own vocabulary, its own phrases, and if you do not know that vocabulary, you can feel completely lost, even if you have been working for years.
Office English is a whole world of its own. And the interesting thing is that office vocabulary is not just useful at work. A lot of these words and phrases show up in daily conversations, relationships, and life situations in ways that genuinely surprise people.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so I have to tell you about my first week at my current job because it was honestly one of the most confusing and most educational weeks of my entire life.
The first week at a new job, a very specific kind of overwhelming experience.
Yes, it really is. So I joined the company on a Monday morning, and the first thing that happened was my manager called me into her office and said, "We need to get you onboarded as quickly as possible because we have a big deliverable coming up at the end of the month."
Two very important office words right there. Onboarded and deliverable.
Yes. So onboarding is the process of integrating a new employee into the company, getting them set up with their equipment, their accounts, their access, and their understanding of how things work. It is basically the official process of becoming part of the team properly.
And onboarding in everyday English also means bringing anyone new into any process or system smoothly, like onboarding a new client or onboarding a new vendor, or even onboarding someone into a new way of doing things in their personal life.
Yes, the idea is always the same, bringing someone new in and setting them up for success from the beginning.
Exactly. And deliverable is the other word. A deliverable is a specific piece of work or output that needs to be completed and handed over by a certain deadline. It is something you are expected to produce and deliver, hence the name.
Hence the name. Okay, yes. So a deliverable could be a report, a presentation, a design, a piece of code, anything that has to be finished and submitted by a specific date.
Right. And the key thing about a deliverable is that it always has a deadline and it always has a clear definition of what done actually looks like.
Yes, what done looks like. That is so important because so many office problems come from people having different ideas of what done means. Okay, so my manager also told me that I would be reporting directly to her and that I should attend the daily stand-up every morning at 9.
The daily stand-up, a very specific office ritual.
Yes. So a stand-up is a short daily team meeting, usually lasting no more than 15 minutes, where everyone briefly shares what they worked on yesterday, what they're working on today, and if there are any blockers stopping their progress.
And the word blocker is very important here. A blocker is anything that is preventing you from moving forward with your work. An unanswered question, a missing resource, a decision that hasn't been made yet, anything that is stopping progress.
Yes. And in everyday English, a blocker means anything that is preventing you from moving forward in any situation, not just work. Like, what is the blocker stopping you from starting that thing you've been putting off for months?
Exactly. Identify the blocker, remove the blocker, move forward. Works in life exactly the same as it works in the office.
I love that. Okay, so my first stand-up was a disaster because my manager asked me to give a quick brief on my background and experience, and I completely blanked.
The blanking moment in front of the whole team.
I just stood there smiling for about 5 full seconds, saying absolutely nothing. And then I somehow pulled myself together and said a few things. And then she said, "Great, we'll sync up later today and go through your KPIs for the quarter."
Two more very important office words, sync up and KPIs.
Yes. So sync up means to meet or connect with someone briefly to share information, get on the same page, and align on next steps. It's like a mini meeting between two people to make sure everyone is working with the same understanding.
And sync in technology means to synchronize data between devices. But in office language, syncing up means synchronizing your understanding with another person, making sure you're both looking at the situation the same way.
That is such a clean explanation. And KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. It's a measurable value that shows how effectively a person or team is achieving their key business objectives.
Right. So a KPI for a salesperson might be the number of calls made per day or the revenue generated per month. A KPI for a content creator might be views, subscribers, or engagement rate. It measures whether you're performing at the level that was agreed upon.
Yes, and I had no KPIs in my previous job, so the whole concept was new to me. And my manager sat down with me and went through my targets for the quarter, and she said, "These are your non-negotiables for this quarter."
Non-negotiables. Such a powerful phrase.
Yes, non-negotiables are the things that absolutely must happen. No excuses, no compromises, no flexibility. They're the minimum standard that has to be met no matter what.
And non-negotiables in everyday life means the values or standards you'll never compromise on, regardless of the situation. Like, honesty is a non-negotiable for me in any relationship, or 8 hours of sleep is a non-negotiable for my health and performance.
Yes, knowing your non-negotiables in work and in life is so important because when you know what you won't compromise on, you make much better decisions about everything else around it.
Exactly. Non-negotiables are like your personal and professional boundaries. They define the minimum standard you'll accept.
Beautifully put. Okay, so after my sync up with my manager, she told me to sit in on a client call that afternoon, just to observe and get context.
Sit in on, another important office phrase.
Yes, to sit in on something means to attend a meeting or session as an observer without actively participating. You're there to watch, listen, and learn rather than to contribute.
And context is another key office word. Context means the background information and surrounding circumstances that help you understand a situation more completely. Without context, information can be confusing or misleading.
Yes, always give me the context before the conclusion, because without context, the conclusion makes no sense. Okay, so I sat in on the client call, and it was a really intense call. The client was pushing back on the timeline, and the account manager was trying to manage expectations.
Managing expectations, one of the most important office skills.
Yes, managing expectations means making sure the other person has a realistic understanding of what can be delivered, when it will be delivered, and to what standard, so there are no surprises and no disappointments later.
And managing expectations works in every relationship, not just client relationships. If you set clear expectations with friends, family, and colleagues, you avoid so many unnecessary conflicts and misunderstandings.
So true. Underpromise and overdeliver is the classic advice for managing expectations well. Set a lower bar than you know you can achieve and then exceed it. Everyone feels great.
Exactly. Underpromise, overdeliver. The golden rule of client management and, honestly, of most relationships, too.
The golden rule of life, honestly. Okay, so after the call, my manager came to me and said, "Good news! The client approved our proposal. We're going ahead, and we need to loop in the design team immediately."
Loop in, another very common office phrase.
Yes, to loop someone in means to include them in a conversation, email, or discussion so they're aware of what is happening and can contribute if needed. It's like bringing someone into the loop, meaning into the circle of information.
And keeping someone in the loop means making sure they continue to receive updates and stay informed as things progress. The opposite is being left out of the loop, which means not being informed and missing important information.
Nobody likes being left out of the loop. It feels dismissive and creates unnecessary frustration and confusion.
Absolutely. Always loop in the right people at the right time. It saves so much trouble later.
Yes. Okay, before we wrap up, let's go through all the office words we covered today quickly.
Yes, let's do it.
Onboarding, the process of integrating a new employee or person into a company or system.
Deliverable, a specific piece of work that must be completed and submitted by a deadline.
Stand up, a short daily team meeting where everyone shares updates and blockers.
Blocker, anything preventing progress at work or in any situation in life.
Sync up, to meet or connect with another person or team to align understanding.
KPI, key performance indicator, a measurable value showing how effectively objectives are being achieved.
Non-negotiables, things that absolutely must happen with no compromise or flexibility.
Sit in on, to attend a meeting as an observer without actively participating.
Context, the background information that helps understand a situation more completely.
Managing expectations, ensuring others have a realistic understanding of what will be delivered and when.
Loop in, to include someone in a conversation or email so they are informed and aware.
In the loop, being kept informed and updated as things progress and develop.
Bandwidth, the capacity a person has to take on additional work or responsibilities at a given time.
And bandwidth in everyday English means the mental or emotional capacity you have available for something. Like, I do not have the bandwidth for any more commitments this week.
Yes, I do not have the bandwidth. Such a useful phrase for saying I am at my limit without sounding negative or rude.
Exactly. Professional, honest, and completely clear all at once.
Perfect. Okay, everyone, that is a wrap on today's episode, Daily English Words from the Office. And the biggest takeaway is this: office vocabulary is life vocabulary. Onboarding into new experiences, removing blockers from your goals, managing expectations in your relationships, keeping people in the loop, these are not just work skills, they are life skills, expressed in the language of the modern workplace.
And when you know this vocabulary, you do not just sound more professional, you think more clearly, you communicate more precisely, and you show up in every room with the confidence of someone who truly belongs there.
That is so good. Subscribe to Real Talk Podcast and share this with someone who is working or starting a new job and wants to speak English more confidently at work. Drop us a comment telling us which office word you are going to use today. We read every single one, and we love hearing from you.
Take care, everyone. Work smart, speak English confidently. See you in the next one.
Bye, everyone.